Hey guys, welcome back to Margot Watches Movies. My name's Jake Margot. Tonight we're going to be reviewing episode 3 of the new show on Hulu called Chad Powers, starring Glenn Powell. My previous review of the first two episode premiere was a rough one. I was not a fan of the first two episodes. I did find episode 3 to be a pretty sizable step forward as far as quality goes. Now, I do still have a couple issues, and I'll get into that shortly, but I want to start off with what I liked about this episode. I think overall, the whole structure of it, um, there were some very funny moments, but the entire episode seemingly taking place over the course of a season opener for this fictional college. Chad Powers having to learn to deal with life as a backup QB, life from the sidelines versus being on the field. The development, I should say, of the relationship between him and the head coach's daughter, Ricky, also an assistant coach. I think all of that was handled well. And then, of course, you almost had this like mini movie within this episode, kind of hitting all of the feel-good tropes of your typical sports film. And in a lot of ways, this felt like the climax to the end of a 90-minute film. We still have many episodes to go, presumably. So I'll be interested to see, giving us such a high point as far as where we take the character, not necessarily in terms of quality, but where the character ends up at the end of this episode. I have to presume they're going to have to balance that with a low. But I think it all works confined and relegated into this singular episode. The whole premise of it, Chad dealing with watching the backup QB Jerry, the guy who's starting over him, struggle to lead the offense, his interactions with Ricky, the real, I guess, as far as tension and drama go, the climactic confrontation of her and her father on the sideline as the play clock is rolling, being forced to burn a timeout. Some of these little intricacies that lead to the climax on the field of the episode, I think all worked, and it was a marketed step forward for me. Now, my issues still lie with the type of humor that this show tries to portray at times. Again, I think that there were 3, maybe 4 laugh out loud moments in this episode. I think the really rich booster lady, like the Southern lady up in the suite, she cracked me up at a few points. Chad, played by Glenn Powell, had a couple good laughs from me. But this show really needs to get out of the juvenile realm of just this type of humor. Because, I mean, the football action is mostly done realistically, which I think is hard to do in football movies and shows. Now, they never capture what actual Division One or NFL speed look like. It's just so obviously different than like how this show portrays it. But I think the game action is mostly grounded and somewhat believable to the point where it's not fully taking you out of the immersion the show is trying to provide. Now, with that being said, when you have that factor and then you counter it, especially coming off this cold open that had this kind of like poignant look back into the psychology of Russ, Chad Powers, going on this morning jog, reliving his failure of dropping the ball at the 1 yard line, having to deal with that, and then passing by Ricky while he's not in character, and kind of getting this fly on the wall chance to observe her and presumably have his burgeoning feelings grow a little more. To go from that, which felt like a nice change of pace from the slapstick of the previous 2 weeks, into cutting the game off where you think Chad Powers is getting the call to go into the game with the offense struggling. But no, it's to huddle around the backup QB so on the sideline he can pee into a Gatorade cup. And I guess what I just laid out is a long-winded way to say I didn't find that joke to be humorous. It didn't elicit a chuckle. It might have made my lips do that. I just thought it was so pointless and unnecessary, and it's just stupid juvenile humor that this show is can be better than. I don't know why we're having to do like early 2000s Nickelodeon stuff, but I digress. That's it's really like my biggest gripe with the episode, along with, and this is very personal. Okay, so if you don't feel the same way I do, hopefully it doesn't offend you. But this is just my personal belief. I really don't like the couple digs they take it, like having of course, the jerk coach of this team in Georgia, a football coach in the South, says he's an atheist. He doesn't say that, but he makes a joke about it. And then when the backup QB gets hurt, so Chad can come into the game, he breaks his ankle or whatever, and he's like, "Why would you do this to me, Jesus?" It just felt, I don't know why it's low hanging fruit as far as Hollywood goes. I don't know why we have to why that's the only religion, but I know it fits into the culture, God and football in the South. So that's really just a personal thing. I'm not holding it against the show at all. It just I didn't work for me. If it worked for you, that's great. But yeah, besides that, I mean, just the juvenile humor. Some of they really had to mind these character interactions as it all taking place during a game. So like Chad interacting with the mascot tripping. I mean, it's like there's cameras everywhere at these games. Like, try and keep it somewhat. I'm aware the premise of the show is a guy in prosthetics pretending to be someone else, and he's like 32-year-old drug addict, and he's playing good college football. But like, to make this razor thin plot, the setup of the plot being this guy in disguise and hoping no one finds him out. Like, let's not have him interacting with his co-conspirator right after the guy trips and breaks the dude's ankle on camera. Like, that wouldn't be all over X and social media and in the real world. And I'm really nitpicking here, but I just we don't have to go to those levels. There's humor in this show. It's shown pockets and promise of it. And I'm reviewing it harshly because I do think, especially after this week, I think there's potential here for a very heartwarming, funny, sports-oriented show, which I'm always in the mood for more of. I think after 3 episodes, I'm liking it more than I like Stick. And Stick was burdened down by completely unlikable characters. I don't think the characters in this show are unlikable. Ricky is, I mean, she teeters to the point of okay, maybe stop whining so much. But the actress who, after the incident with Mark Sanchez that happened this week, I found out that that's Mark Sanchez's wife, Perry Matfeld. So good for you, Mark. I mean, I don't know if she'll be your wife much longer, but she can really act. And I think knowing she's married to a former NFL quarterback and probably former Fox analyst after his arrest, her ball knowledge actually comes off authentic. I like the pathos she's bringing to her character. She's giving a lot of emotion that doesn't necessarily have to be there, but I think she's been the standout performer of the show so far. Steve Zahn is a little frustrating. I mean, it's a good performance, but the way his character's written in this episode is a little frustrating to me as a football coach. I get he's being pulled by all these directions, but having a booster come rip a coach on the sideline and the dude's getting fired if that happens, it's not realistic. That's hard to, as someone that's a fan of football. Some of these little things take me out, but overall, again, big improvement I think from the last 2 weeks. You got a basically movie within a episode, your sports tropes all hit into one. Chad comes in, leads this epic comeback against Ole Miss. You had a pretty funny cameo from Eli Manning. Who the fuck is this guy? Got a laugh out of me. So I am more positive and more eager to see the next episode than I was after episodes 1 and 2. I think I'll give this episode, a 7, I guess. But that's really within the realm of this show. I don't know if it'd be the same 7 as if I gave one to The Lowdown, also on Hulu, which I'm also reviewing, which is amazing. But so yeah, that's my thoughts on Chad Powers, episode 3, titled Third Quarter. Are they gonna call it fifth quarter, sixth quarter as we get into back half episodes? Be kind of weird, but we'll see. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm Jake Margo. This is Margo Watches Movies. We'll see you next time.